Hey everyone, and welcome back to the deep dive. Whether you're just kind of killing time, or maybe you're trying to
Get up to speed.
get up to speed on something really complicated, or maybe you're just curious about something. We're here to unpack it all for you.
That's right.
And today we're diving into a topic that's honestly a little bit unnerving. We're going to be talking about
Drones.
drones.
The threat of drones.
Exactly. You've probably seen those headlines recently, those mysterious drones that are like buzzing around military bases and other sensitive areas.
Even near the U.S. border.
Oh, yeah, near the border. That's a big one. But here's the thing, you guys.
That's just the beginning?
Oh, yeah, it's just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to be unpacking some expert testimony that was given to a congressional subcommittee.
A whole subcommittee dedicated to this.
Exactly, and they're looking at all the dangers that drones pose, both here in the U.S. and abroad.
It's a whole new world of threats.
It really is.
We're not just talking about those little hobbyist drones anymore, right?
Right.
We're talking about serious stuff.
Like swarms of them.
Swarms of tiny drones. Think about it like this. Each drone costs less than your smartphone,
Oh, wow.
but a whole bunch of them together
Yeah.
could take down like $1 billion warship.
I mean, that's a scary thought, and it's not sci-fi anymore. This is real-world stuff.
Very real.
And it all comes down to, like you said, who's controlling them.
Absolutely. I mean, this technology has been revolutionary for so many good things, right?
Yeah, totally. Like agriculture.
This culture work.
Filmmaking even. Like,
Oh, yeah. Filmmaking. I mean, it's been a game changer, but there's a dark side.
there is.
And it depends who's holding the controls. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in the wrong hands.
It's trouble.
It's a big problem.
Surveillance, smuggling attacks, you name it.
So what does all this mean for, like, the average person?
Well, think about it like this.
Yeah.
We've entered this new era of asymmetrical warfare.
Okay.
You don't need a massive army anymore.
You don't need all those expensive weapons systems.
Nope, not anymore. A
Yeah.
small group
A small group?
can cause huge problems.
Really?
Yeah, just a few hundred drones. Think about it.
I mean, you're talking about disrupting a whole country.
Exactly.
And we're already seeing this play out at the border.
The U.S.-Mexico border.
Yeah, the cartels are using drones for way more than just smuggling drugs.
Oh, yeah, way more. We're talking
Surveillance.
transporting weapons.
Oh, wow.
That
Even
blew our-
attacks. Yeah, they've gotten really sophisticated with their tactics.
Give me an example.
Sure, they're attaching packages of drugs to these drones and just flying them right over the border.
Undetected.
Completely undetected. And get this.
What?
They're even using drones to, like, drop grenades on rival gangs.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's a whole new level.
It's terrifying. So what does this mean for the Border Patrol agents, the folks on the ground?
Well, they're facing a totally different kind of enemy now.
An enemy they can't even see. You can't see it. It can track their every move.
It's like a ghost.
It's a nightmare.
Uh,
How do you even begin to counter that?
I mean, that's a huge question, right? How do you equip these agents to handle a threat that's constantly evolving?
Exactly. And it's not just the cartels that we need to worry about.
Right.
What about critical infrastructure here at home?
Okay, so imagine this.
A drone attack on a power grid.
Plunging a whole city into darkness.
That's the kind of thing that keeps me up at night.
I mean, it's chilling, and it's not as crazy as it sounds.
Not at all.
So much of our infrastructure,
You're vulnerable.
power plants, airports, chemical facilities.
All designed before anyone even thought about drones as a threat.
It's like a sitting duck.
In a way.
And we're not just talking hypotheticals here, right?
No, we're not.
Remember that guy who got arrested
Oh, yeah.
planning a drone attack on a power substation? I mean,
This is happening, people. This is real.
it's a wake-up call. We can't wait for a disaster to happen.
Exactly. We need to be proactive, and we need to learn from what's already happening out there.
Like what's going on in Ukraine.
Exactly. Ukraine is a perfect example.
I mean, we're seeing inexpensive, easy-to-build drones
Changing the battlefield.
taking on tanks,
The artillery.
even disrupting supply lines.
It's incredible, and it's all happening with drones that are relatively cheap and easy to make.
And they're using them in such creative ways.
Oh, yeah, they're strapping explosives to them to take out Russian tanks. They're using them to, pinpoint enemy positions for artillery strikes.
It's remarkable, and it's not just the military doing this, right?
Nope. You've got regular people
Tech workers, even.
building these drones at night after their day jobs.
Wow, talk about ingenuity, but it makes you wonder, why can't the U.S. be this agile?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is what's holding us back.
Is it bureaucracy? Is it complacency?
I mean, the Ukrainians are adapting and innovating at lightning speed.
And it's working, but our system, it's just so much slower.
We're bogged down by regulations, procurement processes, you name it.
And honestly, I think there's a lack of urgency.
We need to learn from what's happening in Ukraine. Find a way to move faster.
We need to be able to adapt and innovate just as quickly as the threat itself is evolving.
Because the drones aren't waiting.
They're not waiting.
They're evolving every single day, and we need to be ready.
We do. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We were just talking about how, Ukraine is really showing us what drones can do out there on the battlefield. And it's pretty remarkable.
It is. It's both amazing and kind of terrifying at the same time, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
Uh-huh.
But let's shift gears a bit here.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about the threats.
Yeah, the problems.
Right, the problems, but what can we actually do about them?
That's the big question, right? Nobody wants to just hear about problems without solutions.
Exactly. So let's dive into that.
Okay, so the expert testimony we've been looking at actually has some answers.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And a big one that keeps coming up is empowering the people on the front lines.
Okay, I like where this is going.
So we're talking about, the Border Patrol agents.
Is security teams.
Exactly. The folks who are actually dealing with this stuff day in and day out, give them the freedom to, try new things to figure out what works in the real world.
It's about trusting those boots on the ground.
Right. Yeah. They're the ones who know what's effective, what's not.
Give them the tools.
The authority.
To experiment, to innovate, and I think we'll see some amazing results.
Cut the red tape, let them loose.
Exactly.
But it's not just about individual agencies doing their own thing right.
No, definitely not.
The experts are also calling for way more cooperation.
More sharing of information between all those different groups?
Yeah, you've got the FBI, Homeland Security, the Department of Defense.
Everyone needs to be on the same page.
It's like they're saying instead of this siloed approach where every agency's trying to tackle this on their own, we need a united front.
Right. Break down those barriers,
Yeah.
share that intel, and work together to come up with a truly comprehensive strategy.
Okay, so more freedom to innovate, more cooperation between agencies. Got it.
That's a good start.
But what about the actual tech? What kind of tools are we talking about here?
Ooh, there's some really exciting stuff on the horizon.
Like what?
Think about it like radar systems that can spot a drone, even in a crowded city.
Wow.
Or acoustic sensors that can pick out the unique sound signature of a drone flying overhead.
So we're not talking about like one magic bullet solution.
No, it's more like a multi-layered approach,
Yeah.
combining all sorts of different technologies.
To create like a really effective detection system.
Exactly. But detection is only half the battle.
Right. Once you've detected a drone, then what? How do you actually stop it?
Well, there are a few options,
Yeah.
and it really depends on the situation.
Okay, lay it on me.
So you've got your non-kinetic options like jamming technology.
Jamming.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It can disrupt the drone's communication systems.
So it can't talk to its operator.
Right, or it messes with its navigation system, forcing it to land.
Interesting. But what about those situations where you need a more forceful response?
Right, like if a drone is carrying explosives or something.
Yeah, posing a direct threat.
That's where the kinetic solutions come in, and that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
We're talking high-powered lasers that can disable a drone in midair.
Lasers.
Yep. Or even projectiles that can take it down.
Wow, lasers, projectiles. It sounds like something out of a movie.
It does, doesn't it? But there are also some surprisingly low-tech solutions being explored, too.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, believe it or not, some folks are training birds of prey to intercept drones.
You're kidding!
No, it's a real thing.
So like falcons and eagles?
Exactly. They've been used for hunting for centuries, right?
Right.
And they have incredible speed and agility. They can actually take down a drone in mid-flight.
And that's amazing. It just goes to show you sometimes the best solutions are the simplest ones.
Sometimes, yeah, but we also need to think about the bigger picture here.
Yeah, okay. What do you mean?
Well, all these strategies, they raise some serious legal and ethical questions.
You're right. We can't just go around blasting drones out of the sky without thinking about the consequences.
Exactly. We need to make sure that whatever solutions we're using are not only effective, but also responsible.
So we're talking about protecting security without sacrificing privacy.
Right. Establishing clear guidelines for when and how this counter-drone tech can be used.
And thinking carefully about data collection and storage.
It's a tricky balance, but it's crucial.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about tech policy, even ethics.
We've been all over the map.
We have, but what's the big takeaway here?
I think the biggest takeaway is the urgency of this issue.
This isn't some far-off threat.
No, it's happening right now, and it's evolving fast.
We can't afford to wait.
We need to be proactive, not reactive.
So invest in research and development.
Streamline those procurement processes.
Foster collaboration across the board.
Government-private industry. Everyone working together.
Because this isn't just a military issue.
Or a law enforcement issue?
It's a societal issue.
That affects every single one of us.
And if we want to stay ahead of the curve, we need to act now.
The stakes are just too high to ignore.
All right, well, that wraps up part 2 of our deep dive into the world of drone threats.
We've looked at some of the solutions out there, the challenges we face.
And the need for a smart, coordinated approach. But we're not done yet. All right, so we talked about how drones are changing the game here at home, but now I want to kind of zoom out and look at the bigger picture.
The global implications.
Exactly, because this isn't just an American problem, right?
Not even close.
Yeah.
It's a worldwide challenge, and it's changing the very nature of warfare.
Okay, so how so?
Well, it's not just about tanks and fighter jets anymore.
Right.
We're talking about swarms of these small, agile drones that can be deployed quickly and cheaply.
So it's not about who has the biggest army anymore.
Nope, it's about who has the most innovative drone technology and knows how to use it.
That's got to be shaking things up on the world stage.
Well, absolutely. We're seeing a democratization of lethal force.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, countries that couldn't compete with major military powers before now have a new tool in their arsenal.
So it's kind of leveling the playing field.
In a way, yeah. And that has the potential to shift the balance of power in regional conflicts.
And we've already seen how effective these drones can be in Ukraine.
Against a much larger and better equipped military.
Exactly. So what happens if these technologies fall into the wrong hands?
That's the big question, isn't it? It's what keeps a lot of policymakers up at night.
I bet.
We're talking about the potential for drone proliferation.
Where more and more countries
And even non-state
to
actors.
get their hands on these weapons.
It's a recipe for instability and could make conflict more likely.
Okay, so more conflict, more players on the field, but drones aren't just about, blowing things up.
Right. They're also incredibly useful for espionage and surveillance.
We've seen how they can be used to gather intelligence.
Monitor sensitive areas, disrupt critical infrastructure.
Remember those drone sightings near airports a while back?
Oh, yeah, the ones that caused all those delays and shutdowns.
Exactly. That's just a taste of what's possible.
And as drone technology continues to advance, the potential for misuse is only going to increase.
I mean, imagine drones equipped with facial recognition technology.
Or drones capable of carrying out cyber attacks.
It's both fascinating and frightening.
It really is.
So how does all of this affect international relations?
Well, we're already seeing how drones are changing the dynamics of conflict.
How so?
Smaller countries can now challenge larger ones.
Leading to more instability.
Potentially, yeah. Alliances are shifting as countries try to acquire or counter drone technology.
It's a whole new world out there.
It really is.
And it's not just about politics and military strategy.
Right.
Drones are raising all sorts of new legal and ethical questions.
Like, what are the rules of engagement for drone warfare?
How do you ensure accountability when drones are used to carry out attacks?
These are tough questions with no easy answers.
And the international community is struggling to keep up.
With the rapid pace of drone development,
So what needs to happen?
we need to establish clear international norms and regulations for the use of drones.
That's all right.
We risk a future where these technologies are used in ways that are dangerous and destabilizing.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's clear that drones are here to stay,
They're a game changer.
with huge implications that we're only beginning to understand,
It's a double-edged sword.
with both immense promise.
And significant risks.
And it's up to all of us to figure out how to navigate this complex landscape.
We need to be proactive, innovative, and most importantly, we need to work together.
We need to have those tough conversations about ethics and international law.
Develop responsible policies, invest in the right technologies,
And we need to stay informed.
and engaged, because the future of our security, both here at home and globally, depends on it.
Well said. This has been a fascinating conversation.
It has been.
And I hope it's given everyone listening a lot to think about.
Drones are changing the world in ways we never imagined, and it's up to us to shape that future.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of drone threats.
It's been a pleasure,
We hope you found it insightful,
and maybe even a little bit unsettling.
because sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction.
And in the world of drones, that truth is evolving every single day. So stay curious, stay informed, and until next time, keep those minds sharp.
And that's a wrap on the deep dive. Thanks for listening.
I would have been on top of the charts, but it's politics. You do some gimmick shit and post, you get a lot of clicks. Drop some real shit and they probably won't acknowledge it.